You're listening to Bigfoot Society, and I'm Jeremiah Byron. Logan Schoessow is back with more information about the Bigfoot Livestream app, and you're not going to want to miss this one. They've been capturing things around the U.S., and what they've been able to get themselves into in Pennsylvania is quite extraordinary. So sit back, relax, and stay with us as we catch up again with Logan Schoessow. All right, Bigfoot Society, we've got the privilege of talking to Logan Schoessow again. He's an individual. We talked back in, I believe, October of 2024, end of 2024, about his app, the Bigfoot Livestream app, which is an interesting project that he's got going on. A lot of really cool stuff, pretty much looking for Bigfoot remotely all over the U.S., So we've got Logan back on to get an update about what he has uncovered since then and good stuff like that. So welcome to the show, Logan. How's it going today, man?
It's going great. How are you doing, sir?
Oh,
Good to be back.
I'm doing great. up in the attic doing interviews. I love it. So Logan, is there anything else that let's pretend, it's a new listener who hasn't gone back to episode 557 and heard that first one. Any short things that people might need to know about you as well before we get into the updates?
Sure. I'll try to make it a truncated, just a brief kind of overview here.
Sure.
So a lot of my field research has been up in Radium, British Columbia, for the last, I guess, 4 to 5 years here. And that's kind of what got me started on building the Bigfoot Livestream app and trying to build a collaboration tool for researchers and enthusiasts, what have you. So I think when we chatted back in October, I had the system up for a little bit, just in one location up in around Radium, British Columbia. And we'd gotten some decent amount of data for about 3 months, like just the kickoff of it. And then we kind of went winterized for about, 4 to 5 months there. And in the meantime, I've been doing some stuff and kind of grown things. But as far as the app itself, it's really just a tool and an idea for people that are, like I said, Bigfoot enthusiasts, researchers, people that want data-driven, architecture that can be, reviewed and scrutinized by anyone. So it's kind of an idea that came out of me having a lot of interactions up there and wanting to have, kind of share Bigfoot high-frequency hot zones, high-frequency, if you want to call them habituation areas, with the world, and trying to grow that and collaborate with people and researchers that are active, that have these spots, and where we could get data, video, audio, a whole lot of data points in there as far as, when is the most activity, when do these beings come out the most? Is it, during the full moon? Is it during the rainstorms? What parts of the country? I mean, there's tons of data to be collected, and that's just kind of just a handful of things I'm kind of sorting and parsing through. But yeah, that's kind of the high level update kind of from October, and I can start digging and giving you what's kind of happened between then and now.
Absolutely. But before we do that, I do want to probably address something that's on new listeners' minds that haven't gone back to episode 557, which I'd really recommend you do, because they've heard the term radium in British Columbia, and they're like, "Oh, is this a thing like headed up by Todd Standing?" It is outside of that, correct? It's pretty much your own project, or what is the current status of that right now?
So I do collaborate with Todd up in that area because it is his kind of research area, and I'm looking for those high frequency spots. It's really my project, and I'm not just focusing on one researcher or one area. It's kind of U.S. and Canada abroad, at least for the time being. It could go over to Russia maybe, but yeah, it's one of the sites that has 3 different streams up right now is in Radium. I have other researchers I'm working with in Pennsylvania, undisclosed location, and I'm still trying to grow the network and get more areas around Texas, Alabama, Georgia, California. This is in the northwest region, Oregon, all those places. So it's kind of people have their opinions of Todd. I'm just trying to give all the data and let people make their own decisions. So that's kind of my stance.
Absolutely. Thank you for addressing that for a few minutes. So what has happened since we last talked? Because I've kind of seen some stuff, and I'm thinking there's been some interesting things that have happened. I'm going to let you go ahead and maybe share some things that you've learned along the way since late 2024.
Yeah. I guess I'll kind of start where I left off as far as the architecture goes, and I'll try not to get too technical with it. But one of the things I've been trying to figure out is how to make things more reliable and off-grid, and try to get those areas that are deep in the woods like obtainable to people without having direct AC power or power source that's on the grid. So I have basically solved that problem. Mostly on my own. I did do some outside consulting with some energy people that are good at what they do. That has been resolved for the most part. I'm still tweaking things. Everything can be optimized, but I have a solid footprint and proof of concept, and I have the proof of concept running, and I'm building 2 more units as we speak. So that's one kind of update. So it's not just for a cabin with power out in the woods. It's for basically anywhere, national forests, remote locations. As long as I can get a clear signal to the sky, it's doable. Nothing's ever going to be perfect off grid. As far as, if it rains a whole week straight and it's solar driven and battery driven, it might have some downtime, right? But those are forces of nature that I can't solve. So that's kind of the architecture update. As far as app updates, in the off season, I really tried to work and reach out to a lot of people and try to find good researchers to work with, good hot activity sites. So I had one slated for Alabama that kind of fell through, and at the very last second, I had 2 in the Northeast, in the state of Pennsylvania pop up. And I had to really scramble to get that going as soon as possible. So I literally built 2 systems within a week and a half and flew up there. Let's see, I flew up there in April and set up 2 systems in April back to back. Worked with a team of people, a research team that have a hot zone up there, and it's kind of it's around the Allegheny forest. Both these sites are. And they're kind of private, so it's I can kind of get general locations, but they've been having activity in this area for 10 plus years now, and they've been on the fence. They were on the fence for a few months trying to figure out if they really wanted to do this and kind of put themselves out there a little bit more than they were doing with the research team out there. So finally, fortunately, we finally convinced them to, to work with us and try to build some data. So right now, we've got 4 streams up there, and I'll also implement thermal into these feeds. So actually all 3 sites right now, 2 in Pennsylvania and 1 in British Columbia, they all have a thermal feed going at the same time. So it's high-end optical paired with a thermal lens that actually streams 24/7 as well. And the thermal is actually programmed to follow heat, so as well as the optical. So any kind of heat signatures, movement signatures, anything. These cameras are all high-end pen, tilt, zoom, so they will spin around 360 if they need to. But any kind of movement, they will try to follow it and track it, and it kind of helps my back-end architecture in the sense that if I do have movement, it's easier for me to program some of these things that are kind of already integrated into these cameras. So I don't know anyone out there that's kind of pushed it to that limit yet. I know there's people using drones and thermal, like, handheld, but I don't think anyone is really doing what I'm doing as far as have it live and also have it searchable. So I know I'm going deep into architecture. If you want me to pump the brakes and kind of get into some other things, I can. I can go that direction too. I will say the other functionality that I think is important is I have everything. I basically built a streaming service within this app. So just think of it as for the last 2 weeks to 4 weeks, you can review any footage you want from any of these streams. So they go in 2-hour chunks, and it's all automated. So every 2 hours, you're going to get 7 different outputs in that functionality within the app, to where you can go and review all these chunks of time if you really wanted to. If you thought you saw something, or if you wanted to review something from 3 a.m. in the morning, you can go directly to that. You don't have to watch it live, and you can report on anything that you find that the back-end architecture hasn't seen, right? So there's plenty of opportunity for people to go in and dig and collaborate and find things. I still use it. Like I said, the system's not perfect, right? Like, there's opportunity to find heat signatures of movement that my architecture may or may not be able to pick up just because it's so subtle or it's quick. So yeah, I still need help, and at the end of the day, I still need eyes on things to have people review footage and talk about things they find, and then help me so I can post all those findings within the app or post it to social media or whatever it is, right? So I think that's important to note. And then another important thing as far as the architecture, again, I'm talking high level here as much as I can, but it's complicated. But I do have machine learning and AI pipelines in the back that's actively grabbing all those chunks of data and sticking that into database backends and doing logging and review and marking spots. So you kind of think of it as you can use some of these camera systems, and they have those event monitors. It's that, but it's more focused toward an algorithm that I'm building that's really focused more towards Bigfoot and not waving of trees or some kind of animal or a car driving by, right? More
absolutely.
Human. It's more human oriented and heat signature oriented and frequency oriented. So and amplitude as far as sound. But so yeah, that's kind of in the background. So it's a big hot mess of work for me. I work on it every day, and right now I'm doing all of it on my own as far as the programming goes and and the app, and really reaching out to people. There's a couple of folks I'm working with that are kind of on board and kind of enjoy the project and want it to grow. So I do have that, but as far as a lot of the just, head down on the keyboard, it's pretty much me doing everything. So if anyone really wanted to get involved and help me, I'm open to it, because I'm only one person, and sometimes it takes an army. But yeah, that's kind of the architecture update.
I do have a few questions for you about some stuff you just said, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
And yeah, this will probably get deep, but it's all right. So are you then at the point where you have trained AI to look for certain things that would look like the form of an ape or a humanoid? I think you were getting to that point last time we talked, but are you actually at that point where the AI can notify you and be like, hey, we've got something here?
Yes, and I'd say it's a little, it's like triple threaded. It's looking for that. So it is gearing up to just be that model, right? But it's still in data collection mode to build the full model, if that makes sense. So it is geared towards that, yes. So it is machine learning AI that's basically me tweaking and revamping it based on the findings that we're getting. But as far as being done with the actual model and like reproducible and like I could share an actual model, it's not that all the way. I need more data. But yeah, short answer is yes.
Gotcha. And I would guess the way for you to get more data is you need more sites where you can have this system set up and then take more data in. Is that right?
Yeah. The more sites, the better. The more people finding anomalies that I haven't found, the better. I mean, it's a ton of data to parse. So it's about, just with 7 streams, it's about 4 terabytes a month, maybe. And that's with the bit rate kind of scaled down a little bit just for the time being. If I max it up all the way to 4K on everything, I mean it's going to double. It's going to be like 8 terabytes of data.
My goodness.
But I can't really do that unless I get a lot more people engaged, because I mean this is pretty much all on my dime at this point. That's what I'm kind of looking for, the right people, the right involvement, people to really collaborate with me so I can like push this to the limit. And I've got other things in the back end doing as far as like better technology and working with some folks in the government and working with LiDAR, working with thermal drones. All these things are blowing around in the back of my head on things that we could do here.
Gotcha. So these are ideas you have. You're not saying you're actually working with someone in the government, but potential in the future.
I've reached out to people, and I've got some spec sheets in front of me that would work, and I've got the right contacts. I just need some of the equipment's is super pricey, so $20,000 for one high-end 4K level X thermal that they use for the Department of Agriculture, for instance, right? So I could really get the clarity like 10 times better on the thermal just by implementing that. But, I need to find the resources. So I don't have like a Kickstarter or anything. Like I said, it's all pretty much just me kind of trying to fund this. I've thought about doing some crowdfunding, but I just haven't got there yet.
Yeah, it's pretty much so it'd be you and the support from the access to the app, correct? Yep. Wow, it's extremely daunting that you're taking all this on yourself. It's it's very, very, very cool. You had mentioned that you also there was frequency involved. with things you were looking into for the AI model. Can you go a little bit more into that, like what you mean when you say frequency?
So I have a associate that's really into audio, and I've got some other people that are really into looking at audio. They put recorders out everywhere, and they're really using that as a source of truth and evidence. So they're like, a lot of the frequency is between a certain like hertz that they're looking for in the signal on the spectrum. So when they find like howls and calls and like um, even like far off returns, like a lot of it based on what people are giving me is within a certain range. So I'm trying to dial things in to be like start in that range and kind of look in that range based on evidence other people have given me. Um, but at the same time, I'm trying to do it on level of magnitude and amplitude because there's some really high amplitude, like actual tree knocks or whatever you want to call them, power knocks. They sound like shotguns, to be honest with you. It sounds like somebody shooting a gun. So I'm really looking for those parts in the algorithm. And like I said, it's a work in progress, right? Like once we zone in on that, maybe we'll find some different sets of data within go search in different zones. But like there's certain frequencies, like for birds, right? You can tell just looking at the visual if you're looking at a program and you're looking at the sound spikes, like when there's a bird call that's kind of in the higher range. And a lot of times when it's a Bigfoot oriented, you could say it's potential, but a lot of it seems to be kind of substantiated from my point. They're kind of in the lower range, so kind of focusing on that.
Absolutely. Are you able to dial in and look specifically for, like, hypothetically 20 to 40 hertz?
Yep, I can do any of that.
That's awesome.
I've tried to do all the research and the coding that I could to make it as optimal as possible. So I can go tweak it. It's just a new commit on the code and change it if we want to change it. But I've kind of dialed in as far as the coding goes on that machine learning pipeline, like what I think we need to start, where we need to start at. And I gave it some wiggle.
Logan's just been cut off for the second time in this interview. My stuff is just going absolutely bonkers. I'm going to try to call him back right now. Both times it's like all of a sudden I hear and it just gets totally cut off. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pause this. Hey, Logan, you there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry about it. I've shut down all other electronics on my desk, so I don't know if there was some weird like interference there or something. It was like my Bluetooth was just getting like shut off. So yeah, we were just talking about some really interesting stuff, which was that you're able to dial it in for 20 to 40 hertz, which, to break that down for listeners that aren't on the same wavelength, kind of, that's pretty much when you're able to look for infrasound, right?
Yep. There's infrasound there, and then there's a little bit, like a lot of the I'd say if you're getting like the Ohio howl or callback that's in the distance, maybe a mile away, somewhere between the 600 to 1,000. It's kind of I'm kind of staying in that range a bit, but yeah, it's kind of multifaceted in that sense. And there's some other off the shelf products, audio recorders that I've found that are trying to do infra, kind of infra stuff and some bat stuff and some weird things. But yeah, it's all over the place.
That's extremely interesting. Have you had any luck getting any of that captured, or is it's still in the dialing in process?
Still dialing it in. So there's the other thing is depending on where you put the system. Like I have one system that's we call it more of a almost like a natural creek swampy area. So it's a challenge to clean up some stuff and to not have interference on some of these locations. But the one out in Radium, British Columbia, I think that it's like just so remote is a really good test bed for audio and capturing that, because even though like so some of these systems, like you can hear a little bit of ambient almost mechanical noise from the camera sometimes, but as far as just absolute quietness, like it is pristine, because like most of the time you're not even hearing bugs on there. It is just dead silent, and it is like probably the best opportunity for capturing something like that.
Gotcha. Since that time, late 2024, have you captured any interesting things through your systems on these sites that you've been able to partner with?
Yeah, I've captured a few things. I went to Radium to go set up the off-grid system and the direct current all non-AC based system there in June. So that one's still going. They've had a lot of rain here this week, so I'm working with Todd to get another battery in just to cover some of the magnitude of rain they had. But yeah, I've had some interesting findings in the Allegheny place for sure. Some interesting audio out of Radium, and some heat signatures out of Radium, some heat signatures out of Allegheny, some Bigfoot gremlins out of Allegheny that I don't know what to do with it. I think I posted. So I posted this one. I think it's on the app and it's on Instagram. I'm not like I'm really bad at social media. I need to get better at it, to be fair, if I kind of want to grow this. But I think I do have a YouTube and Instagram and a Facebook, and I just started doing some TikTok stuff. I've been trying to stay away from it for a long time, just because personally I try to not to like go zombie mode on that stuff, but I kind of need it to grow things. But there was this instance about a week after setting up the system in Allegheny to where the camera's about 9 feet in the air off this metal and wood apparatus that was built by another researcher to help mount it. And it's kind of scanning the tree line there on the back end of this property. And whatever it was, I had the IR on to begin with. Right now I'm doing test bedding and turning the IR off fully and just using ambient light and moonlight and stuff like that, just to see the differences on like activity versus IR on and off. But that first week of IR on, when we set it up, something crossed directly in front of the camera. And again, this is 9 feet tall, and it went back and forth. And it's not like level ground in front of it. It's kind of like a little hilly ditch there, and a tree stump, like kind of in the mix. It's like a sawed down tree stump. And there's no way for me to even touch that camera without getting on a ladder. But whatever it was, it crossed in front of it. It gave like the weird thing is I don't know what to do with it, and I've posted it at a few different places and talked about it. And I haven't really got any real good feedback as what it is, besides people saying, "Oh, that's not, it's not anything. It's somebody like playing with you." but like there's like this head that comes into the picture. Like it looks like the back of a head almost, or the back of the head and neck. And it's so close to the IR. Like to get that close to the IR light, you have to be right up on it, almost to block the entire thing, the entire lens. You have to be all the way up to it completely, and this thing blocks it, and the refraction from the IR light turns it, it whites it out, right? So it's so close to the IR that it whites it out completely, and it's like it looked like the first of it looks kind of like the back of a head, like I'm saying, and then it kind of goes back and forth in front of this camera, like it's like super, like I slowed it down, but if you do it at regular speed, it's really quick, and it lasts for about 25 seconds, where it goes back and forth and blocks the camera. And at one side in the frame, it's so close that you can see, it almost looks like a textured skin. Like you can see it's like a blotch. I don't know if you've ever seen a newborn baby and their skin is blotchy. It looks like that. And then after it goes by, there's almost like a suture or a stitch on whatever. Like I said, I'm not definitive on what this is. I'm just saying it's interesting. But it looks like a suture or a stitch on the skin of whatever this is. You see it in two different frames of the imagery, and I've reached out to people, and I've tried to. People say, well, it's someone wearing a hoodie, and they got on a ladder, and they went back and forth in front of your lens, and that stitch is a stitch from clothing. So I went out and did my own testing with it since I had my lab. I put a hoodie on and did that, and I did it with various other objects like football or baseball, things that have like clear stitches, and see what it would look like in the IR. And nothing. The texture of a hoodie and the texture of clothing doesn't match. The texture of just athletic stitches and stuff like that. I've tried some other stuff, but I just can't find a solid match to what it is. If you really look at the evidence and actually try to recreate it, I haven't been able to say that is that. And I don't understand how it would be 9 feet up in the air and only be a portion of it. So it really didn't make any sense to me. Like I tried to debunk it my own, and I haven't debunked it. And I can't figure out, like you can see like a ridge of, like the outline has a texture of some kind of fuzz or hair. But it's not like matted hair or anything, right? It's not something you would think of, hey, that's a Bigfoot, the back of a Bigfoot. It's got, 4 or 5 inches of hair all over it. So again, I don't really know what it is. I've been in debate since this site is so active, and they actually leave things all around the property. If it wasn't, the back of the head of a Bigfoot, maybe it was something they were waving in front of the camera since it was new to them, and maybe it wasn't an inanimate object that I don't know what it was. But still, I don't know what would be waving that 9 feet in the air, like blocking the IR and going back and forth for 25 seconds. So it's really intriguing. Like I said, that site is, I can give you backstories to that site, but it's been really highly active for at least 10 years now, and the property owners are just learned to deal with it, and they're really nice people, and they're kind of assimilated to it now, but like they leave items all over that place. There's, for instance, they left these huge boulders all over their property. They've left chickens all around that place with their heads off. There's dogs that go missing in those woods, and they come up to that property and look for these dogs. And as of recent, like 5 different dogs have been missing there. And they slap their house. I'd say at least twice a week they'll go up and slap and bang on their house, like really fast, and just knock pictures off the wall even they hit the house so hard. and it's not just the property owners that experience it. There's teams of people that go out there and see these things, and they see orbs. There was an orb there when I was there to go do the system, for instance. And again, I'm trying to give you a multitude of things that happened just in Allegheny. But like the very first few days there when we brought the system up and I started kind of putting it to the back end and doing the recording, there was this, and this was like the very first night even. The property owner was using the app, and they're up all night anyway with they have their own kind of problems, but they really enjoy like looking at it. And they captured some still heat signatures before I actually had the system actually set up to record fully of an actual Bigfoot like heat signatures there, and it looks like a classic Bigfoot with a kind of that stature. It's probably 30, 40, 50 feet in the distance in the tree line, and you can kind of see even the backside of it. It looks like he has a large rear end, right? I'm saying he. I don't know if it's a he or she, but so I had a whole nother system, a whole nother camera that I've. And this is where the woo comes in. I've had this other system there for audio and another camera that we ran 300 feet of cat cable out into the woods to power these things. And every single time I stood it up and the system, like stood that camera up when I was there, it would not turn on. Actually took the whole thing apart and tried to debug it, and then I would take it into the garage and plug it in. Everything the same, and it would turn on, and I'd go out into the woods and plug it in, it wouldn't turn on, and I was getting so irritated with it. I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't turn on, why it won't come on. And then I had to just I ran out of time, so I had to take it home and do testing with it, and there's absolutely zero wrong with it. Like I ran it for 3 months straight when I took it home, no problems. And then I sent a brand new one up there to a researcher, since I already had it all laid out, for them just to go plug it in, right? So they spent a day doing the same song and dance that I did to where it would work. They take it out in the woods, wouldn't work, wouldn't turn on. These cameras are depending over Ethernet, because that's how I designed the architecture to not have to have a power cord. 300-foot cables, and this is the same length, and they're working just fine, no problems. And we swapped cables out, we swapped cameras out, and I can't get this deep wood camera action to work in the location we want it. And that's just kind of one of those blue things that I haven't figured out yet. I don't understand it. So I still have to go back out there, figure out a location that will work, and set up another camera. It is difficult, though, to keep people's privacy and to live stream at the same time and not give away areas or anything like that. So we're thinking about creative ways to do that without like giving away locations or like getting into their own lives. So right now it's a tree line view of the area that's hot that goes back and forth for them, but it's pretty intriguing, and that one's ongoing. I'm capturing a lot of heat signatures out of there. They have I captured, so we set up a side camera inside the garage that doesn't go to live stream because it kind of points to this campfire, and it would the property owners sit at that campfire all the time, so I don't really want them on camera. We captured some sounds from that camera that sound like I don't know what you want to call it, but it was like a growl almost, like 3 different grunt growls, and then the animals in the area kind of run off, and then it kind of dissipates. I don't know what to make of it. So I'm trying to be not trying to hide things from these individuals. At the same time, I'm trying to do different things and explore what works and what doesn't. So, yeah, there's more to come at that site. The other one has a lot of animals and and stuff rolling through, and bears and deer and eagles and beavers and all these different things. So even if you didn't see a Bigfoot there, you're going to see tons of animals, especially at night, that are roaming through there. I've gotten so many hundreds of different clips of heat signatures and following, and it auto zooms in and kind of searches out where it came from and everything. So if you're just kind of a nature enthusiast, that one I haven't caught as much data on, the more wildlife, but it is in a crow's distance flight of this other place, and it's still a hot zone of activity over there. So yeah, that's kind of the update as far as the Pennsylvania sites.
So that site sounds absolutely incredible. Have there been actual visual sightings at that location?
Yes.
Wow.
The research team, the property owner actually sees them frequently. They're looking through her windows all the time, to be fair. And they actually, this is the amazing part, they leave their handprints all over their cars and their windows, and it leaves a white sebum all over the place. So that white residue that researchers talk about,
yep,
it's all over. The handprints are unique. It's almost like the thumb is turned up, more like an ape. Like it's not out, it's up. And recently there was like a smaller, it seems like juvenile that did it recently in the last few days. But they actually pull those prints off. The researchers up there will pull those prints off like with a CSI kit. And don't ask me questions about that, because I am not a fingerprint expert. And these people, they know what they're doing, and I don't. But I've seen what they've done, and it seems like they're doing it the right way, and they're trying to send it to folks like Doug Hijack and other people that can get things to university labs. But if you just run the fingerprints, a cursory check on those fingerprints, and say you put it into some of these, ChatGPT and the LLMs out there, and just say, hey, is this what can you tell me about this fingerprint, right? Most of the time when you put those into it, it'll say it's not a standard thumbprint. It's not a thing like the whatever they're called, they're too far apart. It has all these weird inconsistencies, and like I said, I can't go off that alone, but it is interesting how it doesn't seem like a normal print of a normal human being. And they put up, there's a researcher out there, oddly enough, his name is Todd, so I work with a lot of Todds, but he's done a lot of analysis on the fingerprints, and he collects a lot of that trace evidence there. So even when we showed up in this Sprinter van with another person, and I kind of stayed there that first night. Like while we were at the campfire, someone saw some movement over there by the cars when we went over there, and there's a huge handprint right like on top of the Sprinter van that we just drove up like hours ago, right? So I don't understand. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how they are just so elusive and sneaky without people noticing. Like, I haven't figured that out. That site is, it's a really good level to try to put high-end equipment out and try to capture something. And it's only been a few months, right? Like, you can't expect something to happen like every single day, right? It's consistency that gets you results. So we're going to put more stuff out there and more cameras. I just got to get back out there, but it's the other researchers there. They've seen them out in the woods. They've seen the glowing eyes. They came up right up on them. There's a handful of different accounts I can think of off the top. And then there's probably 100 others that I don't know about. They have tried to put out game cams, like they put out, the movement cams, and kind of stuck them in weird places, and they tried to catch them off guard. And they really haven't came up with much on that. So now we're trying to do this non-game camera action and set up thermal and set up, my system. And eventually it'll be more perimeter based around the house when, if the property owner is okay with it. But it's still definitely a work in progress there, and it's definitely like a really good base site. It's still pretty much off grid. They don't have a lot of neighbors, and like I said, it's backed up to the forest, and they don't, they're elderly and they're private, and they. I'll tell you this really quick. So when they moved into this house, they got a really good deal on it because the people that were there before them basically bought it, stayed there a week, and left. And they left all of their stuff in the house and the dishes in the sink. So I don't know if that tells you anything, but whatever it was, they got out of there quick. The property owner was walking the tree line just before, probably about a month before I set the system up out there around Easter, and with her grandchildren, and they looked up and said, Grandma, look at that. There's an ape right there, right? And she looks up and just sees an individual in front of her, and she's seen them a lot, but the grandkids had never seen anything like that, so they didn't know how to describe it other than, hey, there's a big ape over there. What is it doing, right? And it was literally like 20 feet from them, walking towards them, and she kind of booked it and got out of there. But it's just a hotbed of activity there.
Wow, you are in the absolute right spot, my friend. That is crazy that you were able to get linked up with a spot like that. I mean, you're going to capture the chances of you capturing like the next PG film or something, I would say is so high. You have so many like visuals. It's just, maybe it just takes them long enough to get used to your setup. And I don't know, man, I got a feeling that you're going to get some crazy stuff out of there. You already are getting weird stuff out of there. It's just going to get crazier. And like, what's the plan currently if like you do get the next, you capture the next, PG film using your setup on this property? Like, where do you go from there?
I mean, it's trying to get everyone else to like look at all the evidence and say that it's real. It's going to be an uphill battle,
Mm-hmm.
but if I can give them, hey, here's 24 hours, or I don't know, here's 30 days worth of footage. Here's the blip where it happened. I have the before, the after, everything. I have, here's what I've used. Here's the architecture. There's the history. And, if you want to look at raw footage, you can look at raw footage. If you want to look at something, right? That's what people aren't really doing. They're not given the whole picture. They're given this 3-second clip of, a video of them looking at something in the woods, and there's no backstory, there's no anything to it, and they're posting it to social media where you pretty much can just say that's fake, right? Or you say that's just a red circle in the woods, it's not anything. And I'm sure there's some people out there with real footage. It's just hard to find. It's hard to parse through. So I'm trying to be credible enough to have people actually say, hey, this is a credible source to start with. And then after that, I really don't know. Like, I'm just trying to get to step 1 and then step 2. Hopefully, if we can get a good amount of evidence or video that's substantial, maybe we can bring it and get some research grants in or something, or bring in some third-party reviewers from, Jeff Meldrum-ish kind of person from a college grant, to actually go sit out there for months at a time, right? I don't really know where it goes other than I kind of just want to prove that it's real and then keep going and figure out how these things tick and how they work. And because I think in my head, this is real, right? I know other people are on the fence. All the experiences I've had, this is a real phenomenon, whatever you want to call it. These are real creatures, real beings, real people. It's really important for us to do this discovery and like say this is something real, even if it flips the paradigm of a lot of people on their head. So that's kind of why I do it, other than it's just super cool to me. But that's kind of my thought.
That's exciting stuff, Logan. You're definitely on the right path. You said there were some updates regarding Radium as well.
Yeah, so actually, when I talked to you, I don't remember. I'd have to go back and listen to what we talked about. But when I was out there in October with a few individuals, we had, and this is on the app, and as far as what I captured in audio and video, and then there's more to it now. So we had this experience back in October, I guess. I can't remember if I talked to you about it or not, to be fair. But we had these individuals come out, and like it was 2 in the afternoon. We had 5 of these weird whoop sounds that were nothing like I've ever heard before, and it surrounded our base camp, like from every angle. It went one, then the other, then the other, then the other. And they all made that sound right after 2 minutes before that, and I have all the timestamps. This large owl in the distance. I couldn't say how far it was. Let's just say for giggles, it was a mile away. And then that was kind of 2 minutes after the response back was all those whoops around us. So we went out into the woods, I'd say at the most 150 yards from base camp. And right now, where we went, it's probably 50 yards to where I have a thermal camera set up that's looking down this trail side and the optical. But it's we went out and set out there, and it was me and Todd standing, and then 2 other individuals who were kind of out in a grid pattern. We were all spread out, just sitting out there after that because we heard all those sounds, and we're like, okay, well, maybe they're calling us to go out there and meet and greet. So that's what we did. We kind of sat out there and meditated, whatever you want to call it, posted up on a tree and looked and started to see if we had any interaction. Todd has this video to where he posted on his channel to where I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't look good. It looks like a blob squatch. It looks blurry. It's not definitive. It's not good evidence, right? And I mean, I told him that. It's like, yeah, I believed him at the time. Like, I don't have a reason not to believe him, but at the same time, it's just not good evidence. And he posted it, I don't know, some few months back, but actually, I think he posted back in February. But at the same time, we were filming with like cell phones and cameras, body cams, and the individual I was with was just calling Bill. He, when Todd started talking, he said something. What he said was, "I can see you," and he said it loudly. And I looked over at him, and he was filming in front of him. And he's probably 60 feet from me. Bill was probably 40 feet to the left of Todd. And there was another guy named Billy about probably 30 feet behind Bill. And we were spread out in the woods. And again, there's no one else out in these woods, right? It's just us. There was another individual at base camp that was elderly. He's probably 73, 74 years old that didn't want to go out just because, you know, he's a little older and didn't want to hop out there. So what Bill did was he scanned the forest line right when Todd said that in front of him. And I posted this out there to, like I said, to my socials, and I've done some the zooming in and contrast and some of that stuff with it. But you see, after Todd says that, Bill's, and this is about 70 feet in front of him, this dark-haired, I think it's probably a juvenile, somewhere between 8, 11 years old, just speculating. It actually, you can't even see it until it moves. It is so camouflaged in the tree line. Like, and it moves, right as it moves, you see its hairy leg, right? You see its foot, you see its upper torso. You kind of see the outline of its head through the tree branches as it moves. It's not like a face definitive, but it's this dark-haired, almost black-haired individual that's going from middle of the screen to the left and stepping out in between these trees and walking as Bill's scanning and he's getting up, right? So as Todd's saying he's filming something in front of him, 30 feet to the left of what he's filming is another Bigfoot that Bill captures. And it's, in my opinion, it's super super good evidence, right? And I know people are going to look and say, oh, this is coming out of Todd's camp. You know, this isn't anything. I'm going to tell you that is legitimate footage, and nobody gets, like, I haven't seen good footage in a long time. And that footage, it's on I think it's from an iPhone, and it's pretty clear that there is this individual right there, supremely camouflaged, walking mid-screen to left. And as he pans from right to left, because he didn't even see it, it was so camouflaged. He didn't see it till he reviewed the footage. And this was actually a month or so later that he discovered they even had the footage of this, right? He didn't even know. So to me, it's like just another point of data that substantiates that something was happening when Todd's saying, I can see you. And from my perspective, again, speculation, there was at least 4 to 5 of these Sasquatch Bigfoot around us, and we couldn't see them, but they could see us, and they were just gliding through the forest, just messing with us. And like I said, it's out there. I can send it to you. I can send you the upscaled version that zooms in, and then I have a video that does it, and on the back end, it gives you just the regular output so you can see it. But yeah, it's 70 feet in front of Bill. It's moving. It's maybe 6 feet tall at the most. We need to do some more breakdown and do some video analysis. And I think I can probably do, like, Bill really wants to try to remove the trees from the video and try to do things with it. But I'm going to do my best to give it a shot to make it as clear as possible. But it's amazing footage, right? So
Wow.
that's really incredible. And again, this is 50 yards away from where the camera I just set up in this tree. We scaled this tree on this trail that looks down what we call a porcupine trail, like 20 feet. And we mounted this camera that's thermal and optical there that scans and looks down both into this trail, and it can flip around and look at base camp too and look at the other camera itself. So if something's behind the other camera, it can see it. So it's optical and thermal. So it's just a matter of time before we get something there. It seems like they are having a really good year as far as amount of activity they've had. When I went up there, I don't know how long you want this podcast to be, but I had experiences out there when I went out there just to set up the camera.
The video that you were just talking about, is that on Todd's channel, or you would have to send that to me?
No, it's on, let me see, because I've been debating when to, like, just because it's not my footage. So
right,
I got permission from Bill. He's kind of a real big Bigfoot enthusiast, but he's a private person. He doesn't want any spotlight, right?
I get it.
So I got permission from Bill to release it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't really put it out there into the full frame, Reddit, like, just dumped it into everything. But I think I put it on Instagram, and I made a TikTok and put it out there. And to just try to do like a promo type of video for my app, just to try to get people more interested and get community going. So to me, it's a great advertising tool because it's real, and anyone that says it's not, I can prove it to them that it's real. But at the same time, it's amazing footage, and I can send it to you. I can just send you like what I have, like a full-fledged copy of it. You can check it out and tell me what you think.
That sounds great. And we'll link it, definitely. I'll have a few links in the show notes for this too, or the description. So we've got, the time has been flying by. We've got about 10 minutes left, but it sounds like you may have even some other things that happened to you when you were last out in Radium.
Yeah, so we have this gifting area, or I say we, but I consider myself part of kind of that collaboration up in Radium. But so there's this gifting area that the apples are put out at every time there's an expedition. So when I've been in the last 3-4 years, it's kind of hit and miss. They kind of take them when they want to. This year they've taken them every single time. Like I was there the first night I got there at 7 p.m. at night. We put apples out. We put 3 apples out. I was out there with 2 other individuals that went out while I was doing some of the setup, and we sat up there and just sat and put 3 apples out, one for each of us. We put them high. There was no sign of anything as far as animals, chewing on anything, squirrels, deer, whatever you want to call it. But like there was no sign of that. And after we put the apples out, I'd say 30 minutes post, we got 3 callbacks, 3 kind of triangulated around us, like, and they were just kind of like yells or whoops, whatever you want to call them. I won't try to do it because I'll just butcher it. But we had 3 whoops around us, and we kind of took that at the time being for saying, "Hey, thanks for the apples. There's 3 of us, and we took all your stuff, right?" So when we go back up there in the morning, and this is again, we put it out at 9 o'clock at night. We wake up kind of early and go over there, and they're all gone. So we had some good feedback there, and then ever since then, all the expeditions, starting in May to the end of July, they've taken every single apple that they put out there, and they put them high. They put them 20 feet in the air on the edge of these tree branch sticks where they're just forced into it. You can't get them out. We've seen where squirrels will take bites out of them and stuff, and we'll just, like those instances, we know it's not, anything but a animal chewing on it or a bird pecking at it. So we'll just throw those away. And there's no trace evidence of any of these apples, even there's no core, there's no anything. They're just gone, right? So that's pretty amazing because there's a lot of that going on. When they did a lot of scouting of the area, there's tons of new tree breaks all over the place. They found some fresh footprints in the general sub area. And they've been having activity like just frequent, like at least 3 or 4 times different things. So, and I think if you probably want to know more on that, you could just probably go to Todd's channel and kind of see what he's been saying. I won't get into everything, but as far as for me, we had that callback, we had the apples, and then most people there, they don't do what I do as far as you can call it recklessness or courage. I don't know what you want to call it, but it is bear country there. It's mountain lions, black bear, grizzly bear. And after I set the camera up, it was pretty much a full moon that night, and I put all my systems to turn the IR off and do low mode and just do it off the moonlight. So I can make these systems with their iris and their shutter look like daytime in the night now if there's moon, right? So I don't need IR. And it's really clear and it looks amazing. So we're debunking the IR thing as we speak, but I slept out there in front of that camera about 30 feet in front of it in this opening with another individual. And I can't say it's not creepy, and I can't say there's not some level of fear doing that, because 99% of the people that go out there don't do that. And it got colder than I expected that night. I probably got into the 30s, and I had a 0-degree sleeping bag. I was just sleeping on the ground, and so was the other individual with me. The only thing that happened was we heard like a mouth pop while we were over there in front of the camera. I ended up getting up at 6:30 in the morning because I needed to warm my body because I didn't know I was going to get that cold. So I kind of talked to the guy I was with, and you can see all this. If you really wanted to go to it, I give you the exact date. You can watch me sleep in front of this camera because the video is still there. It's on the app. You can watch me get up. You can watch me walk away. But I walk away and I go down past base camp, probably 2 football fields away, into this clear opening that's kind of lower in elevation on the other side of the ridge line that surrounds it. And this is where we found a 19-inch track. And I sat there and I did have a shotgun with me because, I don't want to get eaten by a bear. And that's the only reason I take it with me. But I kind of sat with my back up to the wood line, kind of giving them you know, some kind of inkling to come behind me because I'm not looking in that direction. And in front of me is more of an open field for like 50 feet, then it goes into another wood line. So I kind of had my back directly to this wood line, and I'm sitting there, and I'm not super into the woo stuff, but I'll give it a shot. I put some mental thought process into the world and say, I'm here, come play, right? Come out. So I'm putting that mental imagery out. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just, like I said, on the ground, kind of Indian style, and with my legs, and all I hear is the ground shake behind me, right? So just like two big stomps, and I felt it in my body that the ground was shaking, right? And before I could even get up, it this individual just does a scream at me, right? And just goes, I'm gonna butcher this, but it was more of like a oh, right? And it was loud, and I felt it, and I kind of got up somewhat quickly, but not like super quick as you think I would, because I didn't know what would be behind me when I did it. And I turned around, spin around, and it's hard to see what I'm looking at. There's trees everywhere, but about 30 feet in, there's something looking at me, and it's gray. I can't quite catch what it is. Like I can't say. All I can see is the outline, and whatever the hair fur was gray, right? And it was staring at me, and it hits this tree with what it looks to be his arm, and bangs on the tree, and just kind of disappears and steps back into the darkness of the foliage, right? And this is about 7 a.m, so the sun's kind of just on the horizon, so it's still kind of dark in that wooded part because the sun's not directly hitting it. So again, I can't see fully, but I believe this was a Bigfoot that stomped on the ground twice, yelled at me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was asking for it. I don't know. And it kind of dissipated into the forest, and then I kind of grabbed my. I did bring a body cam with me. I wasn't wearing it at the time, just because I was filming myself all night with the other camera, and I was just kind of going out and doing my own thing. But I pulled out my cell phone and started scanning the woods, kind of like Bill did in a 360 or 180 degree angle. So I just capture what I experienced and where it was, and then I walk back in there, and there's this clear tree break, probably 5 feet from where this individual was behind this tree. And I'm just looking on the ground, looking for, trace evidence and stuff. And I don't see anything. I don't see footprints or anything, but that's, you don't always find footprints. I was making sure I wasn't crazy. Maybe this is a huge elk or something. And I was trying to look for tracks and stuff. I'm trying to rule out, in my head that this is what I saw and what I heard and what I felt. And then I kind of just sit there for a while, and then I hear two knocks kind of northeast of me, and they were subtle. And then I didn't really know what to do, if they were gone or wanted me to stay there. So I kind of just went back into that open field and sat in a different spot and put my back against the woods again, and just closed my eyes and was just thinking about stuff. And then I got two big, huge power knocks kind of it's to my right. I guess it would be east of me, and it was probably up this hillside. I would guesstimate maybe 100 yards up this hillside. So I didn't really know what to do with it. I knew they were around me. I knew this individual yelled at me. So I just sat there for 30 minutes until I didn't hear anything happening, and then kind of just grabbed my stuff and the shotgun and went back up to the base camp, and went and kind of told Todd what happened and the other people I was with. And Todd's seen enough of this where pretty much all he says is congratulations. So it is what it is, right? So I'm getting closer and closer to having that one-on-one experience that I want. And I'm trying to put the energy out there. If this is real or not, I don't know. I'm going at this at all different angles because the cameras I put up, I can make it to where nothing can get into base camp without being on camera, or I can make it to where they have a clear way in, right? So I go into the fact that I'm gonna make it with a clear way in. If they want to come into base camp, if they want to go in front of the cameras, they will. I don't think these individuals are stupid. I think they know intention and thought process, and they could more than likely see these cameras in the trees. So that's kind of my sense and sensibility of the thing is that I do plan on doing more out there. I have thought about putting the thermal further down the road towards the hill where the apples are taken. I just don't want to stop the activity fully. So eventually we'll probably get to that point to where we'll probably have another thermal, like 2 in that site, to where we're going more of a 180 on the thermal. But yeah, there's so much stuff. I'm combing through all the event data. There's lots of weird sounds, lots of weird knocks. There's bears that are rolling through there that we've captured. And this system's really only been up for like a month, right? It took 2-3 months of the first data, for the first data to actually get like some really good hit marks, and they went beside the trailer. They've shook in the trailer this year. We captured some audio of, it's like sounds like heavy breathing grunts right beside the trailer at night with other audio recorders where the camera wasn't even faced that direction. So again, it's tricky. Like, people have been trying to do this for years now, but I'm trying to get it right and trying to share it with everyone, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah,
wow.
that's kind of the update from Radium. So I expect it to be very, very busy soon. I'm trying to get another solar panel out there, and another battery. I've already paid for it all. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get things into Canada through customs. So there's that aspect, but yeah, it's just going to get better from my perspective. And then I'm reaching out to a lot of other researchers, trying to get them to collaborate with me. It's hard to win people over, especially if they're in the camp of I hate Todd and you work with Todd. It is what it is, right? I'm just following the data, and if they just have a closed mind to begin with, and to each their own. But there are a lot of the original Bigfooter people that just really despise Todd, and they won't even let me talk to them, right? And I'm not Todd, right? So I'm just like, okay, well, you're lost, and I'm going to keep going forward with other people that are doing research. So yeah, it's a work in progress.
And Logan, I'd say you're doing some fantastic work. I mean, you're working through everything. You're getting some great sites you're getting hooked up with, and I can't wait to see what comes out of Pennsylvania. Do you mind, in the last minutes, reminding people how they can reach out to you about this project, how they can follow along and watch the video for themselves, all that good stuff?
Yeah, sure. I think the easiest way to reach out to me, and you don't have to subscribe to the app, is just download the app. I have a contact info on there. There's social media links right at the bottom. So if you really just want to check it out and look at it, and look at the precursor of kind of the background and stuff at the login screen, you can just get to me from there. It's on Android, it's on iOS. It's called Bigfoot Livestream. I will have a website set up sooner or later. I'm kind of a new age in that sense, to where I don't know why I need a website, but because I'm kind of a technology guy, and if I can get to it on an app, I'd rather get to it on an app. But I will have a website. I'll just get one built and put it out there into the world. But you can. I did create a TikTok. I think it's like Bigfoot.live.stream. But the other socials are on the app. I just haven't added a TikTok to it yet. So YouTube, there's Facebook and Instagram. But as far as email goes, contact at back.BigfootLivestream.org. Just you can send me an email if you have ideas or collaboration stuff or a site, or honestly just I'm open just to ideas or feedback or criticism of how we're doing stuff, right? Because there's always better ways to do things. There's a lot of people with a lot of great ideas, so I'm not shut off to any of that. And then let me think if there's anything else here. Oh, I do have a forum on the app where you can go, just like a web forum. If you have an area of frequency, it'll shoot me an email after you fill the form out. I'll get in touch with you if you feel that you want to do that. I'm trying to. It's not set in stone, but I am actively trying to do like kind of a live event with kind of a big name in Bigfoot. I respect him a lot. It's like I said, it's not set in stone yet. Oh, it's one of the more respected people in the field, and he's pretty honest, and it's full of integrity. So I really love to work with him and kind of collaborate with him and try to build something with him on the side here. But like I said, not set in stone, just stuff that's going on in the mix.
Great stuff, Logan. The future is looking very bright for you and your project. I'm sure we'll definitely be in touch. Thank you so much for coming on the show again. It has been a pleasure chatting with you today, Logan.
Yep, appreciate it. Good stuff.
Just want to take a minute to say thank you for listening to this episode of the Bigfoot Society podcast. Huge thanks to Logan Schoessow for sharing updates about how he is continuing to push the boundaries of Bigfoot research with real technology and some serious courage. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any new episodes, and share this one with a friend who's into Bigfoot, AI, or the unexplained. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you're following the show, and please leave us a 5-star positive review, as it really helps the algorithm start to work. Now, if you or someone you know has had a Bigfoot encounter, especially in places like the Allegheny National Forest in Pennsylvania, Radium, British Columbia, or anywhere in the backwoods of North America, I'd love to hear from you. So please send me an email at bigfootsociety@gmail.com and let's talk about it. Thanks again for following along with the Bigfoot Society. If you want to become a member, currently you can do that by going to patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society or becoming a member over on our YouTube channel. Until next time, keep your eyes open, trust your gut, and never stop asking what else might be out there, and see you in the woods.